club ukiingia hivi
bro,
usalimie bouncer, ile usalimie bouncer ni aje nini cheke nao nini hivi.
Mpatie somo moja.
Watakuisha buda si hata unacheka soda. Wacheko kasoda. Waje tu katao tu ambia kunyweni basi kasoda ingie ndani.
Tao umeenda mbele lakini sawa.
Utachungwa the whole night.
Into 5-4. Sort them out.
Very important.
Uni msana kupikia chakula. This is a person who has access to your digs.
Yeah.
This is a person who has access, like, uyo.
They have very personal information.
Exactly.
But the difference between the transition when you first came here, you might have been 20. You might have been 19 years old.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very easy transition to make when you're young. You have no responsibilities and you don't have, like certain farm values developed.
Let me say this. And I wish my brother who was here a while back, alisema hivi. Dombolo ya solo. Unajua dombolo ni mzee wa streets. Kiasi. The most important people that you need to take care of are you watching? Sorry, the person who is looking out for your digs.
Yeah.
And the person who is facilitating your inside the digolos.
Yeah, cooking for you, looking after you, whatever.
Please.
They're called
excuse me,
house managers.
Caretaker.
Or caretaker, yeah.
Unajua watu wa South B hawana decorum.
Yes.
When was I from South B?
Oh, sorry. Is it Nairobi West?
They're the same thing.
They're the same thing. Hizo zote.
Nairobi West,
Mataheko.
They're all in the same WhatsApp group.
They're sawa.
They all add up from Nairobi West Hospital to Mata.
Thank you.
South B is a different constituency.
Pana. Again, vile umeongea anyway.
Industrial areas between them.
Sawa. Watu.
Yes.
Into 5-4. Sort them out.
Very important.
Uni msana kupikia chakula. This is a person who has access to your digs.
Yeah.
This is a person who has access, like, uyo.
They have very personal information.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you do madhogodhanio to them.
Yeah, they can mess you up.
Hey,
like a nonsense.
Yeah.
Utafinywa. So, like, it's important.
Unajua the funny thing is like, hata tu hao pekee.
For starters.
Yeah, for starters, yes. But anybody who does a service to you.
Yes.
Back home.
Yes.
Right? Oni mtu mwenye, they can either make you or break you.
Yes.
In a very simple way.
Yes.
From hata tu ukienda kwa restaurant tu waiter.
Kwanza hao.
Unajua hata club. Unajua club ukiingia hivi.
Bro.
Usalimie bouncer, ile usalimie bouncer ni aje nini cheke nao nini hivi.
Mpatie somo moja.
Buda si hata unacheka soda. Wacheko kasoda. Waje tu katao tu ambia kunyweni basi kasoda ingie ndani.
Tao umeenda mbele lakini sawa.
Utachungwa the whole night.
Watakuwa waseka 5. No, you sort.
Utachungwa the whole night, right? Na watakuwa baka watatafuta ule waiter mzuri mwenye atakuja kwao na watakuchanua leo kama unajua mimi nishaingia club ni kwamba leo ishia home. Ile mchele kwa hapa ni moba utatoboa. Like unajua unafika hivyo na mwendo home. Hapa leo hizo toboa. Hapo tuumizwa. Like wanakuchunga.
I agree with Mickey.
So yeah.
Wale backers.
Hata kwa restaurant. Ukienda kwa restaurant like kwa chunga fiti unaishia food na kuambia leo sidhani usikule fry leo. Hiyo ni nyama ililala. Hakwambii ni lala lakini nyama ililala. Anakuambia kimecheza.
Ama mpishi ni different.
Mimi naona tu leo kule choma. Choma ni poa, kula tu choma leo. Anakuambia tu like sikia Kenya na kushow. Juu umweka poa pia na kuweka poa. Utaenda huko muhare ya bure. Juu umekula ulikata wana madharau.
Na hiyo kitu Kenya wagambaya.
Yeah. It's quite simple. Know how to live with people. Like hawa tunadharau. But unadharau wingi hapo unaonanga sijui unajiona wewe ni vile. Hao ndo watakuweka.
Yeah. So now there was also someone else, Johnny K hapo on YouTube, Johnny K254 anasema algorithm hapa pia like 2 weeks ago. So so that algorithm is working in our favor.
Absolutely.
And then and then there was someone who had commented earlier when we were speaking, Ubi Yosef yani leo yuko He's on another level.
Ni Yusuf ama Yosef?
Imeandikwa ni Yosef.
We'll go with
hapa
Yosef.
kulikuwa na Mjengo Mashinani 218. Ali is on point. Peers and sometimes family harbor veiled resentment, especially when your home visits become more frequent.
They will, for sure. I know that for a fact that I know guys in Baltimore, who have contracted FAMO, Kenya. Hey, they've seen dust.
But I also think the overall problem is that we are looking at a very tough economy in Kenya, because I try to give people in Kenya
tough.
grace.
It's extremely tough.
And by the way, no.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily a tough economy. Even when you're flourishing. From what when I say from what I've seen and experienced and people that have been, even when things are mzuri, guys in Kenya in 254 will still nyandua you.
I see this differently. And I guess it's because
You need experience, yeah.
And by the way, boss, what listen, I am talking about people that I know.
Okay.
Even when the economy is doing well.
Yeah.
Bado watu FAMO and guys have been properly.
So I mean, I'll personally be honest. I hear of this a lot. Like in Kenya, even last week, I think this was talking about, like even people contracting someone to try and take you out. And we've had some cases here and there.
Correct. Yeah.
I hear people talking about this, and me, it's just my own experience, honesty. I haven't seen this type of bile from my extended family.
Personal. Yeah.
That is you.
Personal experience.
Yes. I am talking about people that I know.
Yes.
I am talking about people that I know who do not have jwala za kutravel, but have been madhogodhaniot in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
When you say financially, we're talking about even money that has been sent to do projects and whatever.
Yeah. To help set them up.
When they go home. Because whatever, but it has been bad.
Okay. But is that an outlier? Again, I'll ask that question. Is that an outlier? Is that like a normal
From what
thing?
you're seeing?
From what you're seeing?
From what I've seen.
Is it just...
It's not an outlier.
It's you cannot call it. It's
not an outlier, boss.
It is. No, but you cannot say it's common, because Babu, a lot of the people in the diaspora have invested back home through their families. And I want to say majority of the people in the diaspora have invested back home through their families.
Yes.
Like, unapata msee ametumia familia. Kujua hauna njia ingine ya kutumia. But ukiangalia kwa kina mtu watu wamejenga kwao. Right?
But
Ali hapa alipiga project pia through familia yake.
Yes, of course. Fine. Yeah.
Mimi nimedu vitu home through familia yangu. Omosha amedu vitu through familia yake. Wewe umedu vitu through familia yako. Ngoja uno. So yes, kuna wale ugongwa. And as all happened, si usikie hizo story. Right? Kuna juzi moja ilikuwa famous ya Massachusetts, ilikuwa inaongelewa. Ilikuwa kwa news and everywhere, right? Si usikie hizo story. Yes, will happen. Watu tunajua wame-go through the same situation. It happens. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. But I wouldn't call it an outlier. I wouldn't call it
a common
thing. I would say
it happens.
It happens.
It happens. Ni kama kamari. Ni kama ukienda taone za gongo.
Sawa, Mika. Yeah, I'm with Mika on that one. It's not an outlier,
outlier
whatever, but it happens. With frequency, it depends on whatever.
Inaonekana frequency yake ya uno iko frequent.
Yeah.
Dust tumeona vumbi.
But could this also be an aspect of these stories, like we tend to hear them, the good stories are never
talked about.
They're never talked about.
No. So let me say this. Let me say this. My experience is the good stories are not broadcast, because you know what? Like I think I mentioned it, because there are those guys who
good stories are expected. Ni normal. Tuna expect tuko majuu ujenge kwenu.
Yeah.
Normal. Kapish. Hiyo ni kawaida.
So it's
So
a
good
normal
stories,
story.
I don't, yeah, it's a normal thing. That's what they expect from you. Usipofanya hivyo tutaongea,
But
ukiibiwa tutaongea, but ukifanya
but
kwani
also
tulikuwa
Yeah.
tuna
but
expect
also
nini?
remember when you announce your stuff,
Yeah.
unaiweka huko. There are guys who don't announce. So wow, there are those guys who chini ya maji
Yeah.
wako sawa.
Yeah.
Wako sawa. Like if you ask like okay, I know one. I know two.
But ukitangaza on
Ukitangaza
social
like
media, for example.
sijui what, this is my thing,
I
this is my
have a
construction.
10-bedroom home.
You know, like there are those guys who don't do anything in terms of broadcasting or social media.
Yeah.
Even if they're on social media, but they don't announce, they don't project, they don't
Yeah.
do whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that is a problem in the 254, in that because when you pronounce, like now for example, if Ali says, I've got a 15-bedroom home I'm building in Kileleshwa, kuna manyangauro wanangoja.
For Ali to land or otherwise.
Whether he lands or not, there's a way that people are gonna figure out a way to get his contacts, for a way to get his number. They will find a way, watanyemelea social media, whatever. Yet tuseme kama kuna Mika akona 25-acre plot in prime estate in Kileleshwa ama Karen ama Runda that people don't know about or whatever, and anafanya vitu, anajenga whatever, he's doing things or whatever, people will not know, and he makes sure that. But again, even if he does that, kuna mtu muhangre
Okay.
in that part over there who's going to be like, hey, nipatie kitu, give me 10,000 and I'll tell you what, this guy who's called he calls himself Mika Och. Alafu sasa unaanza kuput. Anyway, carry on.
So there's a comment here coming from Tony Shira on Facebook. Anasema, hey team, from a convo we had today morning, and my friend drew a picture of how nothing seems to work back home for the majority. No money in circulation, and those who have put whatever money they had in businesses are closing down, while others are scaling down and others are getting auctioned. Imagine that the money seen in some of these businesses are bank loans, and worse too from loan sharks. Neither banks nor sharks will wait. So a delay has banks and sharks recovering their money via assets you had earlier, and the banks are currently loaning the government and not wananchi. Unless one is returning with an external source, the environment is not great to sustain a returnee. That's Tony Shira saying that. And then Stephen JJ anasema hapo ni ukweli, they want to eat you alive. That's why I always seek second, third and fourth opinions. Stephen Bati Sambaza podcast anasema this series hit home walai, and I'm with Mika 50-50 deal. My wife is from here and we have agreed it will favor us, but we shall see. Now I think the most important thing is that you have to prioritize your family first. You know, like before you go on any romantic narratives, you have to prioritize your family first. Kama una watoto wadogo, and like what Paul Waithaka was saying here, if you have kids, you really have to think hard. And then the transition, like from, I know we talked about like when you move back to Kenya, you also have to transition, like the way you transition when you first came here. But the difference between the transition when you first came here, you might have been 20. You might have been 19 years old. That's a very easy transition to make when you're young. You have no responsibilities and you don't have, like certain farm values developed. When you're in your 40s and you're moving, that's a very difficult move to make.
But Ali,
Yeah.
when you're talking about your kids, if they're of age, what discussions are you having with them pertaining to stuff that you have in Kenya? Remember when you had Rema over here?
Yes.
That is a conversation that you need to have with your kids. In terms of...
That's a big one. First of all, like...
Because remember that there.
Yeah, if you have
Yes.
kids, whenever you're procuring assets, you have to have them in mind. Like...
That's exactly what I was talking about.
If something were to happen to me, how easy will it be for my kids to be able to access these assets? Otherwise... like your assets, the ones that you have in a very far place, that your kids who've never been to Kenya or rarely go to Kenya don't have access to, there's other people who are gonna eat.
But more so, how much involved have you involved your kids in your assets in Kenya? Forget here, the US or Canada or whatever.
Yeah.
But in Kenya,
Yes.
how much involved do they know that mukona land hapa?
Yeah.
And we're not talking about when they are 19, 25, 27.
Yeah.
We're talking about since they were 9.
Yes.
Yeah, carry on.
So that's very important.